Tonight.
Huge.
Right out of the gate, have you decided on a starting quarterback?
Yeah, Dylan will start the game. Yeah,
Okay.
he'll start the game. Yeah.
Just a little more on that, just good week of practice, or?
Yeah, both guys. Look, they're both doing it. They're both working at it. I thought Dylan did some good things in the game, and so I think he's earned the right to start this game.
Coach, you talked about sort of the snowball effect on defense, and it's,
Yeah.
as it's hard to stop in the beginning of the year, it's going to be hard to stop in November. Do you feel that comes more from coaching or just kind of a lack of depth and sort of talent because there's a lot of freshmen playing in that department right now?
Yeah, I think it's that's a good question. I think it's a little bit of both, right? I'm not going to go down the injury road or anything like that. I just think that we all on both sides of the ball and on special teams, although I think special teams has been in many ways a bright spot for this team. But on offense and defense, we just haven't been able to, it's been too inconsistent. At times we look really good, right? If you go back to the beginning of the SMU game or, parts of the Notre Dame game, on both sides of the ball, we looked really good. But obviously too many times it has not been good enough. So, we'll have to do a deep dive on that after the season. But we got, we're focused on Georgia Tech for Saturday.
Bill, I know it's senior week and a lot of these kids will play their final game here, or some of them, not a lot, but are there any, I know kids are wired to look ahead and coaches are too, but are there any memories for any of the seniors that you can think of, anything special?
Oh
that
yeah, I mean
sticks
these guys.
out?
Yeah, no, these guys have given us everything. You think about guys like Bryce Steele, overcame cancer. You think about Logan Taylor, who was at Virginia when that horrible shooting took place and transferred to Boston College and brought a great mentality to this offensive line. Lewis Bond, hopefully he gets the chance to break a record within the next two games. Hopefully he does it at home, but Lewis Bond, Owen McGowan, a local guy. None of these guys, I tell them all the time, we have a losing record, but none of these guys are losers. They're winners. They're winners in everything that they do. They've given us everything that they've got, from the weight room to the practice field to the meeting rooms. They've always been on time. Not one guy's ever been a problem. They go to class, they do the right things, and I really enjoy coaching them. I really do. I love coaching them.
Along those lines, the senior group has obviously had a tough season, but just what have they meant to you personally, weather that storm, and how much have they meant to you individually?
They show up every day. It's like I said to you guys a couple weeks ago. I haven't been around too many teams that have had this type of a record, but the ones that I have, many of them have checked out. And these guys have never checked out. If you guys just our 2-minute drill right here at the end of the Thursday practice was awesome. I mean, there was a lot of juice, a lot of energy. They show up in the meeting room every day. These guys get up early. They go to class after practice, and they've tried to each and every day put their best foot forward. And I think that's one of the things that I'll remember the most is the fact that they showed up every single day and never, ever, ever thought about giving up.
Kind of a weird scheduling quarter where you have a bye next week
I know.
before that last game. Obviously, you're focused on this game and trying to win it, but do you approach that week next week any differently than you would a normal bye week?
Not really. I mean, we got a lot of older guys that are banged up, so we'll take care of them. But then we've got some. We have to. Obviously, we're not going to a bowl, so we have to use that as a bowl preparation type of week. So we've got to do a great job of scrimmaging with the guys that have not played a lot, but including some guys that have played a lot that maybe are younger players that need to continue to get better. So it's a great opportunity for those guys. The other guys will lift and run and do things like that. But yeah, we'll approach it pretty much the same way we always do. But we'll obviously without a bowl game, we'll use it in that way too.
Coach, thinking big picture, getting this football program to be able to compete at the Power 4 level, on a consistent basis. I know I asked about financial support from the school, but is there anything that we haven't asked or we're not aware of that's happening internally, whether it's changes or proposals that kind of reflect your push to getting this program to where it needs to be?
I think those, Mac, I really do. I always appreciate your questions. I think those questions are for people higher up than me. I'm just a coach. I enjoy working here. I enjoy working with the people I work with. Everybody from Father Leahy to Father Jack to Blake James to all the people that I work with in administration. But I think at the end of the day, that's probably a question for them.
Is Haynes King, just talk about his dual threat capabilities with that size?
This guy, like I think I said this on Tuesday. I mean, the more you watch him, you know, you have to, they have a lot of good players. They've got good speed. Brent's done a great job with that program. Brent has done a hell of a job with that program. And to be able to get Haynes King to come there from Texas A&M was a big get for them because he changed the program. He himself, he carries that team. He brings the emotion, the fire, the competitiveness. He's a badass. That's how the best way I can put it.
Quick follow to that, is the designed quarterback run like one of the toughest things to defend?
Yeah, because it's unfortunately, it's an extra guy, it's an extra gap that you have to defend, especially the way they run it. You know, it's a lot of gap. It's not just the normal like zone read. They do a lot of things with it. Buster Faulkner does a great job. So they're running counter with it. They're running power with it. Quarterback counter, quarterback power, jet sweep. He could hand it off on a jet sweep or keep it on the counter depending on what the read tells him to do.
Yeah.
Then they have RPOs. Then they have just normal offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they practice all of it, you know, but they do, and they get it done, and they're very well coached, and they do a great job.
Coach, when it was pretty obvious that when you had Jaden Ski back, I think it was against Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
He was just so crucial to the offense,
Yeah.
and whether it's just getting those clutch like 7-yard receptions
Yeah.
or just having some pressure taken off of Lewis and Reed.
Yeah.
Is there any idea if he's going to be back this week?
No, he won't be back. He hurt his shoulder
Okay.
in practice the week after the Notre Dame game, but he'll be back. I would tell you that he won't be back this year, but I would anticipate him being back next year. And you're right about that. He brings a lot of, he's a really good player. He's got good speed. He's got good size. He's a good guy. He's a local guy, and it's been hard not having him out there. That's no doubt about it.
Coach, talk about not giving up and this team not giving up. Why do you think that's happened this year when you talked about previous teams, it
Yeah.
has not happened?
Yeah, I think like the reason why with this team is there are, first of all, they're high character guys. They're very, very high character guys. There's not one low character guy on this team. They're guys that care about each other. They really do care about each other. I think the leadership doesn't reflect it in the record, but it does reflect it in the way they approach every single day. I think the guys that are the captains, the 8 captains, they've done a good job of keeping this team together. This team really does. They like each other. They enjoy playing. It's a rarity. I know it's not really what anybody on the outside wants to hear. Everybody wants to win. Nobody wants to win more than us, these coaches, these players. But from me internally, I will always remember this team because you never want to be in this situation again. But at the same time, you talk about dealing with adversity on a day-to-day basis. These guys show up every day, and I give the leaders a lot of that credit.
Along those same lines, how important is it for the younger guys to see that on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, when you talk about a culture and how you're trying to establish a culture, and hopefully in years to come, you can look back on this year and always point to this team as, look, it wasn't a great team, obviously, but it was a team that never, ever, ever thought about giving up or quitting or anything, and they brought it every single day. And so in the future, you can say to a guy, hey, you think you're having a tough day. Remember back to 25, that was a tough year, and these guys showed up every single day and gave us everything they had.
Just another question about the defense, and obviously I remember at the beginning of the season you saying there's no way you can replace a player like Donovan
Yeah.
who generated 16.5 sacks, and the team as a whole this year has only had 14, I think. Just
Yeah.
talk about when you look on tape what you're seeing from that pressure on the offensive line against teams that you're going against.
Yeah, we haven't been able to generate the same amount of pressure. Obviously, Donovan was an elite player, he's the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. We knew we weren't going to be able to replace that. Q Hutchins has done a hell of a job, but at the end of the day, Donovan was, in my opinion, a first-round draft pick. So we tried to generate it through pressure and things like that. Just having, at times it's come home, but clearly not enough. So we got to really look at that in the offseason.
And just quickly, did Tim's style sort of change without Donovan and Cam Arnold, Cam Horsley and Cam Arnold?
Yeah, I don't think, look, there's some things that we did differently, but I don't think the style changed. It's a multiple defense. We play Okie, we play 4 down, we play a bear front, we play nickel, we play dime, and obviously we play base defense. So we did that last year. Just, I don't think the styles changed that much.
How much do you believe in momentum? Do you think winning one or both of these final 2 games can carry forward to next year?
I do think so. And I think that these games are going to be very, very difficult, right? Georgia Tech's the 14th ranked team in the country. They're 8-1. They have a chance to go to the playoff if they win out. So, they have a lot to play for. But I believe we have a lot to play for too. So I think these guys will play hard. I think they'll show up and be ready to go. I'm glad it's a home game. But yeah, I do think there's something to that, no doubt.
And Coach, when you look at Georgia Tech as kind of the example, potential playoff team, do you kind of use them as the example of how he's been able to turn that program around. And then also from the quarterback perspective, Haynes King, like, he didn't have an easy road there either. You know, it took him a while to develop, and you talk about developing these young quarterbacks, that it's a long road, but you know, that development takes some.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of models around the country. Now, as you know, we're different, right?
Right.
We're a Catholic Jesuit school in Boston, which is a great thing. It's an awesome thing, and it's a smaller school and things like that. But there's a lot of models, whether it's Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, you know, Duke to a certain degree, even Indiana, which I know is a big state school, but Indiana, Arizona State, those teams. I think that I want to say in 2023, Vanderbilt was 2-10.
Yeah.
And so, you know, those are schools that, you know, you can look at and kind of look at some of the things that they did and how they did things. But in the end,
Yeah.
you got to do what's right for BC. But yeah, there's definitely examples out there that have shown that you can turn it around.
You mentioned post-game Saturday, that you'll do some stuff Friday night for
Yeah.
the seniors and all that. Just what does that entail?
Friday, it'll be Friday, tomorrow morning, about between 11 and noon, we'll have a banquet. So we wanted to do it on a Friday because that's when all the parents are here. We wanted to make sure the parents were here. I think there's 31 guys that'll be introduced on Saturday in the senior day. So we wanted to honor them, so the whole team will come up to the Murray Room. I think it starts around 11, and then we'll have a banquet and honor those guys and give out some awards. Instead of doing it on a Sunday, I talked to the administration about it. I just felt like it was better, regardless of what the record is, to do it on a Friday when all the parents are here that are traveling in for the game. And so we started that process about 2 weeks ago, and I think we're gonna have a good turnout for it.
I know this is a question a little outside the box, but Donovan was here last Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, AJ was here, AJ Dillon was here a few weeks ago. I know he planned you.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
think we
like-
could have snuck them out there? And if we changed the
Couple
numbers?
of
and stuff?
carries, maybe nobody would have noticed. But has there ever been thought of possibly trying, and maybe it's being done, I don't know, bringing in some former BC people in some other higher roles in the program, like a Matt Ryan or a Flutie or something, you know, just.
Yeah, well, first of all, the answer is yes. We have Sean Guthrie here, you guys probably see him, he was a great player here, he's our player development guy, he does a great job. And then over the course of the next couple months, yeah, there will be some, you know, some things that we'll do, I think, that'll help the program, but some of that doesn't have a whole lot to do with me either, if that makes sense. I don't want to get into all that right now, but yeah, there's definitely former players out there. I don't know if Flutie and Matt Ryan seems to be doing very well for himself, and I think Doug Flutie's doing really well for himself. So I don't think it'll be those two guys, but there are a lot of guys out there that played here that are take a lot of pride in this program.
I think
Just,
Doug playing old-time baseball, I could ask him.
Yeah, no doubt.
Rob Gronkowski signed his one-day contract yesterday. Just some thoughts on him.
Oh man, I mean, no. In my opinion, obviously, I'm very biased. The best tight end to ever play. He brought a level of toughness to our team. In 2009, we struggled. We won the AFC East, but we were 10-6. So, you know, relative to the Patriots' success, that wasn't great. Got knocked out of the playoffs that year by the Ravens. Went into that draft and drafted Gronk, I think with the 40th or so pick. And the minute he walked into the building, he brought an energy and a toughness to the Patriots that, you know, will lead himself to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was just an unbelievable athlete, 6'7", 260 pounds. He could catch any pass, whether it was a foot off the ground or whether it was 10 feet over his head. One-handed, he could block. He was a great blocker, and he was just an awesome guy. He brought a great energy to the building every single day. Every day, he brought an energy to the building that lit the building up. And so we can't say enough great things about him. He's awesome.
Any final ones, guys?
Everybody good?
Thanks.
Yep.